These peppermint meringue cookies are such a pretty, delicate addition to Christmas cookie platter. The light, airy texture and bright mint flavor are a wonderful contrast to other rich holiday treats, like the pastel-colored, vanilla-easy meringue cookies that I make around Easter. They're gluten-free so everyone can enjoy them. Single quote. This is not a recipe to make by hand. You'll want a stand mixer or, at the very least, an electric beater with a whisk attachment. Oh, sure, you could try it the old-fashioned, manual way, but your arm will be too tired to lift afterward. So, go ahead and haul that big mixer out of the back of the kitchen cabinet before you get started. Then, read on for some tips that will save you loads of frustration. Single quote. Save. Whether you're making these peppermint meringue cookies or a meringue topping for a pie, there are some essential steps that you must take to ensure success. Degrease your equipment. Grease keeps egg whites from reaching stiff peak consistency. So, before you begin, get a cloth damp with white vinegar, then wipe the bowl and whisk to remove grease and let them air dry. Carefully separate your eggs. Even a tiny trace of yolk in the egg whites will ruin the recipe. If you're not great at separating egg yolks and whites, go ahead and buy a carton of pasteurized egg whites to use. Don't rush things, as the peppermint meringue cookies recipe indicates. You need to use room temperature egg whites, so let them sit on a counter for 30 minutes before you start. If you're in a hurry, you can pour the egg whites into a small bowl and set that into a larger bowl of warm, not hot water for 5 minutes. Know what stiff peaks look like. Don't rush the whisking, either. You must reach the stiff peak stage, or your meringues will collapse in the oven. It can take 5 minutes to reach the soft peak stage, and another 5 to form stiff peaks. Soft peaks will fold and collapse on themselves when you lift the whisk out of the mixture. Stiff peaks will remain upright. Here's what that looks like. Single quote. Now, don't let those tips intimidate you. Peppermint meringue cookies are pretty simple to make, just be patient. Don't like peppermint? Use vanilla extract instead, or even lemon. You can swap sprinkles or colored sugar for the crushed candy canes if you'd rather, or leave them bare. Don't like bright white cookies? Stir in 1/4 teaspoon of food coloring with your extract. The point is, they're a lot less fussy than you might think. Single quote. Peppermint meringue cookies can last for days in an airtight container away from humidity. If you want to freeze them, place a sheet of parchment paper between each layer as you stack them. To defrost, remove them from the container and place them on the counter for an hour before serving. The important thing is to keep them away from humidity, because these fluffy little bites of sweetness will soak up any moisture in the air. Homemade pimento cheese recipe. Easy baked omelet for a crowd holiday hard candy recipe. Single quote. Save.